Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, fellow students, and future colleagues. My name is Lacey Campbell, and I'm the Vice President of Georgia Health Sciences University, Student Ambassadors, College of Allied Health Sciences Member-at-Large for the GHSU Student Government Association, and the current National Student Forum Chair for the American Society of Clinical Laboratory Science, also known as ASCLS. I'm a senior in the Masters of Health Science Clinical Laboratory Science program in the College of Allied Health Sciences. After I graduate in May 2013, I plan to seek employment at the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention in Atlanta, Georgia. It is my pleasure to be here with you today and introduce the President of Georgia Health Sciences University and CEO of Georgia Health Sciences Health Systems, Dr. Ricardo Aziz. Dr. Aziz assumed the leadership of our institution in July of 2010. He came to GHSU from the School of Medicine at UCLA, where he served as a professor. He also served as the chair of the Department of Obstetrics and Gynecology and the director of the Center for Androgen-Related Disorders at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center in Los Angeles, California. There he conducted a long-funded research study on an androgen excess disease known as polycystic ovarian syndrome. In my graduate research project, I am referencing his work as I complete a study on the effects of various dosages of metformin on fertility in women diagnosed with polycystic ovarian syndrome and type 2 diabetes. Dr. Aziz earned a Master's of Business Administration and a Master's of Public Health from the University of Alabama at Birmingham and his medical degree from his father's alma mater, Pennsylvania State University. As a student leader on campus, I have had the chance to interact with Dr. Aziz on numerous occasions, such as at forums he has arranged or attended with students to hear us voice our concerns and ideas, or at many institutional events such as the Governor's State of Georgia address at our Cancer Research Center. I've also been privileged to usher at his home for other community-related events, and I have been very impressed with the grace and warmth his entire family displays to each and every guest. Today, we will hear about the achievements of GHSU, but perhaps more importantly, we will also hear about the challenges and tremendous opportunities that lie ahead for our enterprise in the years to come. So without further ado, I welcome to the stage the visionary leader, President and CEO, Dr. Ricardo Aziz.
Lacey, thank you very much for that introduction. And also thank you for your leadership. I've always believed that leadership is a way of thinking. It's an attitude. And Lacey, you certainly have it. For the past 2 years, I've had the privilege and honor of leading the Georgia Health Sciences enterprise. I'm thankful for your partnership, your support, your active engagement in our work and in the future. I'm thankful for the trust you have placed in my team and I. And I'm thankful for the leadership every one of you exhibits each and every day. No matter where you live within our organizational structure, you can and should be a leader, because leadership involves taking ownership and accepting responsibility, and that can and should be done everywhere. I'm most grateful to my family, to my wife Cindy, to my children Ashley, Jonathan, and Mallory, to my mother who's here with us, my father at his home in Florida, for their unwavering support and love. To them, I can only say thank you. Last year when I delivered this address, as we faced an increasingly uncertain future, I ended up reminding ourselves that we should dream big, envisioning a future that is compelling, exciting, transformative, and one that people would want to be part of. Not just a future that is incrementally greater or just a little bit better than today. And becoming the next great American university and great academic health center is that kind of dream, that kind of big dream. In the spring of 2010, on our path to fulfilling this big vision, this grand dream, we identified 11 critical barriers to the past and to future growth. An absent, compelling big vision and unified strategic plan, a siloed structure and culture, the fact that we were an isolated, standalone health sciences university, inadequate and reverse branding, an overdependence on state support, limited and misaligned philanthropy, late to significantly invest in research, insufficient in aging facilities, no Atlanta presence, limited national exposure, and restrained local support. So where are we today with these challenges that we identified back then? Let's start from the top. While we had previous strategic plans, more recently we lacked a compelling and unified big vision. No big dream, no big goal, no unified plan that mapped a path for a better future for both the health system and the university together. But now we have embraced a grand vision for the future, to be a top-tier university that is a destination of choice for education, healthcare, discovery, creativity, and innovation. And we have articulated our big dream to build the next great American university. And we launched ESP, a rapid, comprehensive strategic engagement process, a process that provided important early information on the state of the enterprise and its challenges and opportunities. And the results of that process, one that solicited the input of every member, student, faculty, and staff, is Transformation 2020. A clear, ambitious, high-level, future-oriented, and vision-driven strategic plan, which crafts a roadmap for the health sciences for years to come, a plan whose elements will form part of the unified Georgia Regents University strategic plan and vision, a plan that stemmed from the work of many, a plan that we can be proud of, and for which I would like to recognize the very hard work of Joe Thornton and Dr. Joseph Hobbs as co-chairs for Transformation 2020. I'm looking to see if they're here. We had a siloed structure, limited alignment of the health system of the university, lack of integration of administrative functions across the enterprise, limited collaborations across colleges and departments. But today we operate as a unified, aligned, and administratively integrated academic health center and health sciences university. And we have continued to build transdisciplinary cross-collegial units, including our Cancer Center, the Institute for Public and Preventive Health, the Institute for Regenerative and Reparative Medicine, and the soon-to-be interdisciplinary state-of-the-art simulation. Limited our ability to develop effective pipeline and enrichment programs to identify promising students, and most notably, budding scientists early in their formation. It limited our ability to leverage student growth in numbers on behalf of all students. But soon, we will be part of a small but growing comprehensive research university with a rich and very powerful future. We had a history of inadequate or reverse branding, a non-university name, a name that suggested we were only a standalone medical school, a history of flying below the radar, a history of lack of investing in branding such that key stakeholders in the state and beyond were completely unaware of what or who we were, of the enormous value we brought to our community, to Georgia, and to the nation. But now we have a name that highlights our role as a university. And we have made significant inroads in getting our university's name out and the value of our university recognized throughout the state, the nation, and the globe. We have educated many, including ourselves, around the facts that we are more than a medical school or a high-level tech school for health professions, that we are a statewide entity, and that we are critically different from other universities in the university system of Georgia's system. We are both a university and an academic health center. And yes, we have much more to do in the years ahead, but the word is spreading, and the jewel that our university is slowly becoming uncovered. We were overdependent on state support, particularly for capital projects and education, resulting in investments that were determined primarily by state politics or tax revenues, rather than an overarching strategic plan or vision. An inadequate focus on entrepreneurship, limited philanthropic efforts, and a chronic underinvestment in our facilities. But today we are crafting growth plans that require greater investment by our partners and community, and the leveraging of unique strengths and assets, one that we will cover in a second. Growth plans that call for significant institutional investment, not only in the partnership of the state, but also with philanthropic community, the federal government, and private investors and developers. And speaking of non-state resources, our focus on philanthropy has been limited, without a comprehensive capital campaign ever implemented, with significant misalignment between the university and its principal philanthropic foundation. And in fact, much of the lack of emphasis on philanthropy stemmed from the mistaken perception that because we receive state appropriations, we are fully, somehow, state-supported. Yes, we do receive state funds, and we are very grateful for them, but only enough to support less than a quarter of the university's budget, 23% to be exact. We should always remember that the best single defining element predicting the success of any institution of higher education in this country is whether they are supported by the philanthropic community, whether they are public or private. And so in the past 2 years, we have resolved our differences with our partner foundations, although we still have much to do to ensure maximum synergy and alignment. And with their help, and that of some of the members of our community, last year we raised 3 times as much philanthropic gifts as in prior years. In fact, the gifts and commitments of local philanthropists and alumni have helped us make our new J. Harold Harrison, MD, Education Commons building a reality. While many universities began to invest in their scientific growth in the late 70s and early 80s, we did not do so in earnest until the beginning of the new millennia, under President Dan Ron's tenure, an investment that continues today with the aim of doubling our research output and obtaining NCI designation for our cancer center by 2020, an investment that has led to the establishment of the Institute for Regenerative and Reparative Medicine and the Institute for Preventive and Public Health, already the second best funded such institute in the state. An investment that will be strengthened by the new proposed research cancer building, which eventually will be part of a comprehensive cancer complex here in Augusta and here at our university. An investment that is driven by our community of extraordinary scientists and researchers, thoughtful, productive, collaborative, and visionary. And speaking of facilities, we were and are still suffering from insufficient and aged facilities to support our education, research, and our clinical missions. In addition to our overdependence on the state of Georgia for new facilities construction and limited philanthropy for capital projects, our underinvestment in facilities seems to have stemmed from a lack of understanding that state-of-the-art facilities are critical to grow as they drive recruitment, research development, and clinical competitiveness. However, our renewed philanthropic efforts have ensured that $34.5 million, almost one half of the total cost, was raised for the construction of the new Education Commons building, a project that was one thought to be dead, now boasts really a $14 million state-of-the-art interdisciplinary simulation center, a project that will ensure our ability to train additional medical and dental students here in Augusta, a long-awaited facility with groundbreaking scheduled for November the 28th, and I hope you join us for that celebration. And we have much more in the planning stage, including a new cancer research building, expanded and updated clinical facilities, and new student life and academic facilities on the Summerville site, and many, many more. We have virtually no Atlanta presence. In fact, all research universities in Georgia, including UGA and Mercer, have campuses in Atlanta. Why? Well, because Metro Atlanta is home to almost half of the population of Georgia, because that's where the state's businesses are conducted. And that, to paraphrase bank robber Willie Sutton, is where the money is. And although we have yet to flesh out a clear approach to this barrier, we are beginning to devise a feasible strategy, leveraging our unique strengths and those of the new consolidated university and our tripart mission of education, research, and clinical service. Atlanta needs us. And we have had a limited national and global presence. And why would this be important, some say? We have all the great students we want right here in Georgia, because the vast majority of national recognized faculty and scientists are not found only in Georgia, because we have an obligation to bring to Georgia the best and the brightest from around the nation and the globe. And while, again, we have not yet developed a robust strategy around this issue, our current efforts to recruit and retain the best faculty from around the globe are ensuring that our name is becoming increasingly recognized worldwide. And lastly, but not least, we have experienced limited tangible support of our health sciences university in our health system. But we should also recognize that there are many who support us and for whose backing I am very grateful for. In particular, those key local philanthropists and decision makers who believe in our future and in our vision, and that of our new consolidated university. But much work has to be done, for some in our community are not ready or prepared to embrace or accept a strong, growing university in their midst. Nor do they fully comprehend that their success and their future, and that of their city, is intimately tied to how well the university does. But I know with time and continued education and engagement, those who oppose progress and change will soon embrace the vision of this great American university. And unfortunately, we face additional challenges not of our making. An uncertain health care environment that is taxing our health system beyond the usual. A flattening world that is enhancing our opportunities for global growth, but also stressing our need to be competitive, not just locally and in the state, but nationally and worldwide. A heightened concern for national security with our troops still engaged in conflicts around the globe, and a deep sense of distrust and fear in many Americans, consuming emotional energy and resources and lessening our ability to fully partake in the global growth being experienced by many other nations. In a deep and prolonged recession that, while improving, is doing so only very slowly. An economic environment that over the past 4 years has burdened our enterprise with over $600 million in decreased revenues or increased unfunded costs, or both. With our university that is experiencing $225 million in cumulative state appropriation cuts since 2008. A health system that is experiencing another $80 million in reduced revenue or increased unpaid care in the past 4 years. All while we're in the middle of undertaking over $300 million in worthwhile, yet largely unfunded mandates. Initiatives like improving and maintaining our IT infrastructure and our facilities, developing an NCI-designated cancer center, expanding the College of Dental Medicine student body, and the ongoing costs of those who accepted early retirement in 2000 and whose costs continue today. And of course, the biggest mandate of all, our consolidation. A tough situation that has tested the mettle of our extraordinarily loyal, dedicated, and resilient staff and faculty. Individuals and teams who have been able to maintain and even improve the services they offer to students, patients in our communities, despite the severity of budgetary restrictions. Staff and faculty, many of whom have not received a pay raise in over 4 years, an unfortunate situation that state employees at least 4 other southeastern states have suffered, and a situation we intend to begin to address in this coming fiscal year. To you, the faculty and staff, go my thanks and my applause. But despite these challenges, we have achieved much in the past 2 years. In addition to fully aligning and integrating all components of the enterprise, rebranding our university and our health system, launching a strategic engagement and planning process, funding the construction of the J. Harold Harrison Education Commons Building, and establishing the Institutes for Regenerative Reparative Medicine and Public and Preventive Health, we established an enterprise-wide Office of Multicultural Affairs and an Office of Military and Veteran Affairs, and new clinical programs such as our Digestive Health Center and our Cardiovascular Service Line. We created greater accountability for our administrators and held our first day of service, that engaged employees and their families in volunteer initiatives throughout the region. We welcome 40 aspiring physicians as the inaugural class of the GHSU-UGA Medical Education Partnership in Athens, growing our total medical school class size to 230 students, the 10th largest in the country. And we recruited 200 new faculty and scientists, of which almost one-half were for new positions. We opened a state-of-the-art new clinical building for the College of Dental Medicine, providing nearly 270,000 square feet of space that will allow the college to increase its class size from 63 to 100 by 2016. We received 16 acres of Augusta riverfront property from Governor Deal and the state of Georgia to support future growth and development. Our medical center excelled during its Joint Commission Accreditation Survey, and our university underwent a very successful SACS accreditation reaffirmation. And hundreds of faculty, staff, and students from Georgia Health Sciences University and Augusta State University are actively undertaking a myriad of initiatives to prepare us for our university's consolidation, a consolidation that will create a new, bigger, stronger, more comprehensive research university. But some of you may rightfully be asking, why consolidate ASU and GHSU? And I can only respond, because in the long term, it is the right thing. It is the right thing for our students, for our faculty, for our state, and for the nation, despite all the anguish and all the discomfort we may be experiencing today. It's the right thing for our students, who will have improved offerings in degrees and in experience and in infrastructure. It's the right thing for our faculty, who will have greater opportunities for collaborative research and professional development. And it's the right thing for Georgia and our community, who will both benefit from having a university with a broader footprint, a greater reach, greater relevance, and a larger economic impact. A university that will use state resources more effectively for the benefit of our students. A university that will create a more educated Georgia. The consolidation will create a powerful entity of higher learning in Georgia. The Georgia Regents University, when it begins, will have almost $2.5 billion in direct economic impact, nearly 10,000 students in 9 colleges and schools, more than 1,000 faculty, approximately 5,000 staff, an integrated academic health center, a growing intercollegiate athletics program, more than 650 acres of campus, and nearly 150 buildings. That's the power of our consolidation. So what's the promise? What will Georgia Regents look like in 2030, 18 years from now? Well, I envision that in 2030, we will have a student body of roughly 20,000 students, with 48% of those enrolled in graduate-level programs. An expanded programmatic array, including strong offerings in the liberal arts, humanities, social sciences, business and management, communications, and the STEM disciplines. And still continuing to lead the state and the nation in health professions education and the biomedical sciences. We will have an extensive online and mobile portfolio of educational offerings and major formalized educational partnerships with our active military and our veterans, allowing us to both enhance and benefit from their extensive and diverse experience base. A vibrant student and cultural life supported by a transformed university and city environment. A top 50 ranked medical school, a 6-year graduation rate exceeding 75% with 95% employment rate, an internationally recognized faculty body of over 2,000, 5% of whom will be highly decorated. Over $300 million in research funding and more than $30 million in technology transfer revenue. An NCI-designated comprehensive cancer center and a clinical and translational sciences institute or its equivalent. More than 2 million square feet of new buildings and 800 acres of university campus in Augusta, with at least 8 regional campuses throughout the state, including a well-situated, well-recognized, and diverse Atlanta campus. A health system operating as part of a network of affiliated entities, with over 40% of its patients requiring advanced and complex care, and ranked among the top 30 medical centers in the nation. Division I sports and a new sports complex. a $750 million endowment to support future growth and development, and a direct economic impact exceeding $4.5 billion. In essence, in 2030, we will have a great university. So how will we be able to develop that great university considering our current budgetary challenges and recessive environment? How will we grow in an upside-down world? Well, firstly, we start by recognizing that we are in an economic new normal, waiting for things to get better for China and India and Brazil and the myriad of other countries vying for the economic pie is pure folly. They're not going away. The time to act is now. We will do this through careful planning, rigorous financial management, and an emphasis on operational efficiency, through lean management, guided by metrics, and with a focus on excellence and competitiveness. By relying less on state support while becoming more innovative in how we use our financial instruments, rallying our philanthropic community, finding alternative revenues through discovery and technology, and through enhanced health system performance. By ensuring that we respond to budgetary cuts to our current budget today with operational reductions and efficiencies in those same operations. We should not yield to the temptation of using our growth funds to offset our cuts, because we should not eat our seed corn today to respond to challenges today, because today is here to stay, and we must grow into the future regardless. And lastly, by implementing a growth plan that follows a carefully crafted strategic plan and is funded through a designated future-oriented development fund. And since the time for planning and action is now, we have already begun to craft such a fund, what we call the STARS Fund, or the Strategic Academic Research and Service Development Fund, a fund that will inject $750 million of growth over the next 8 years into our new consolidated university, a development fund that, in concert with our strategic plans and that of our consolidated university, will support the university's growth while protecting our core operations. A development fund which will seed targeted growth in academics and in faculty, much of it in non-health sciences areas. In our cancer center, as we pursue NCI designation, in other areas of research excellence, and in much-needed facilities, while ensuring that we have sufficient resources for a successful consolidation. But before any of you think that we have those resources today, we need to fully understand that this fund, like any other development fund worldwide, will need to be sourced through hard work and extraordinary performance over the next 8 years. We must hit on all cylinders, including meeting research and direct cost targets, technology transfer revenue, health system performance and margin, philanthropic goals, student enrollment objectives, additional targeted federal and state appropriations, and significant operational savings. Gifford Pinchot, the first chief of the United States Forest Service, reminded us that the vast possibilities of our great future will become realities only if we make ourselves responsible for that future. And believe me, we are. Will our journey be an easy one? I can assure you it will not. Because we all must recognize the change. Moreover, true transformation as we are experiencing is painful, disconcerting, anxiety-provoking, a toxic mix of loss, fear, and anticipation. But change is the price we must pay for a better tomorrow. To quote Albert Einstein, if you always do what you always did, you will always get what you always got. But is it the right journey, in the right direction? That, I can assure you it is. Someone recently told me that, talking about our consolidation, that we are part of a great experiment. But I will tell you that, really, we are much more than that. We are the architects of this great experiment. We are taking responsibility for our future, the future that is not something that is happening to us. We're not just standing by idly, waiting for the future. This grand and promising future is something that we working together, are actively molding and creating. So how can we as individuals contribute to the fulfillment of this big dream, this grand future? Let me respond to that question with these final thoughts. Do not wait for the invitation to join the dance. The music's already started. Get engaged because your involvement is critical. Work hard to stay communicated and in communication. I understand that while it may be great to be personally briefed on every new initiative, there are simply too many initiatives and too many people that need to know. Remember, communicating in a large, complex enterprise such as ours is like throwing a pebble in a tar pit. And it is up to each and every one of us to reach out and try and learn as much as we can to essentially meet communications halfway. We must try to manage our fears. We all have them to varying degrees and about different things. Often we are worried about the smallest of changes, or are worried about changes that are very unlikely or even illogical. Fear of change is natural, but it is manageable. Be sure you are part of the solution and not part of the problem. Think positively. Question the status quo. Think of new ways of approaching your work. Think out of the box and act out of the box. Always remember that good enough is not enough. Add value to whatever you touch. Our students, our patients, our colleagues, our community, our future generations really deserve the best always. Aim to collaborate and synergize. Seek and find partners to fill in the gaps because we can't be everything to everybody. And remember that you will find partners in the most unlikely quarters of our great university community. Target your efforts using sound business principles and focusing on measurable results. And always remember to be a visible advocate for our enterprise. Always be a strong and vocal advocate for this university. And so despite the uncertainty of tomorrow, or maybe even perhaps because of it, we know what we must do. We must embrace the future. We must stay focused on growth. And we must work together in a positive and collaborative manner to build the next great American university here in Augusta, a university that will serve our city, our state, and the world. Finally, we should always remember that universities and their staff and faculty have a higher purpose. Yes, great universities impart knowledge, they create knowledge, and they preserve knowledge. They ensure a better prepared people and a more competitive community and nation. But universities, through the efforts of their staff, faculty, and students, are also powerful forces for good, for progress, and for change. And I believe in the power of universities to transform the world, to transform a nation, a state, and yes, even to transform a community. And I believe in the moral imperative of universities to not only educate a community, but also to ensure a better future for the world's peoples. A better future in all its colors and hues, and all its challenges and opportunities. And we should always remember we are crafting a future that others may not yet be able to fully comprehend. That we are describing a future that for some is unbelievable or maybe even unattainable. But I believe in our big dream, in our grand vision, in our goal of building the next great American university here in Augusta for Georgia and the world. And I believe that the best way to predict and control our future is to create it, which is what we are doing today. Deliberately and methodically reinventing tomorrow's university for the citizens of our region and for the people of the world. Thank you for your attention and for all that you do every day for our university and for our future. Thank you.